Hello, everyone. I'm Jesus, and welcome to the next episode of the Road to Old School MTG. So, this is the day after Lobstercon. Lobstercon was on for this year, 2023, June 2nd and 3rd. On June 2nd, there was two events. The side event was X Points. Main event was the Pre-Modern. Friday, June 2, Saturday, June 3rd. It was flipped. Old School was the main event with a side event of Pre-Modern. Well, but yeah, X Points and those two were switched, but yeah, it was always Pre-Modern in one of those two, right? So one kind of Old School and then Pre-Modern. So I attended the X Points on Friday and then the Old School on Saturday, and then this is Sunday, June 4th. I've come back. So I'm just here to go through, my experience, show off some of the things I've gotten there. Namely, right here, this is the official Lobstercon 2023 playmat, signed by Mr. Drew Tucker, and it was just a pretty cool event all around. So I'm going to first of just talk about the event just in general, but also specifically how I did in terms of my decks. I'm going to show my decks, and then lastly I have here a package from some of the cards I've been getting recently for Mirage and the new Mirage block I'm looking to join, plus a couple odds and ends here as well. So let's go through things. First of all, just showing off some of the swag here, the free swag for attending. So Lobster zombie tokens, 2/2/2/2 zombie tokens. That's pretty cool. It's funny, but this is actually the coolest, definitely. Sage of Latinum, I may have gotten two, because they were giving some of these out on both days. Then you got a New England Old School sticker, got a little wrinkle, this hectic day, but this is pretty cool. Lobstercon 2023 pin. And then here, an actual Sage of Latinum from Antiquities card. I don't have any of these, mainly because I personally don't. I wouldn't use these because I don't have that many artifacts to, this card, gets used in artifact heavy decks, of course, because it's tap. If I'm not mistaken, you sacrifice an artifact, you draw a card, right? So it's basically if you're like playing ATOG, something like that, or workshops, you may tag these in as well to make use and go through your deck faster, right? So that's why I never bought any of these, but definitely they are pretty they have been used, and I saw quite a few in use in Lobstercon for this year. So it's cool that they actually gave me an actual Sage of Latinum. So if I were to buy, as you guys know, right, when I buy cards, I tend to buy playsets. So now I would only buy 3 because I'm definitely looking to actually use this card in actual gameplay if the deck that I'm making warrants it, right? But it'd be cool to actually use these, and a lot of players do this. They use their cards that have been modified, altered for whatever reason, whether they did it themselves or they bought it altered or they got something that was like this from an event. And they like kind of like a history of of their deck and their just history with the game. So it's pretty cool. So here's I believe it's this Lobstercon art, but a pen for it. So pretty cool. All right, and then the New England Old School shirt sticker image right here. You guys can see a little bit of. I got my So that's another thing I got from them. They had Lobstercon 2023 shirts, but while you're going up, you're going down, you're playing because it was in different floors. By the time I came down, there were no more, and then so unfortunately I missed out on them. We'll see. Maybe they get posted online or something. I don't know. But yeah, I was really bummed out that I missed out on that. But at least I did get this, and it's actually I went to Drew Tucker's table, and so I bought this playmat from him. He was kind enough to actually sign it right there, and then he even did the little 3D effect on it. So that was pretty dope. So I have that from him. This is the other playmat I got from Mr. Tucker. Dan playmat. And once again, he was kind enough to sign it and took the extra time to give it a 3D effect. So, of course, because if there was a Dan format, it's not called Dan format, right? But it's Dan is the iconic card of that format. It has been recently popularized. So, there's a lot of interest in the card Dan, and of course the artist has been always so freaking awesome. I love the ripple effects and really looks like it's underwater, and with the boats floating above it. So I got that from him as well. He signed it, and then when I went to get my New England old school shirt, they also had New England old school playmat. So I just had to get them. So that's 3 playmats that I got from there. It's pretty cool, right? So yeah, and of course this art is so cool. Right, the British and then the Americans, but this is of course mimicking the Old Men of the Sea art from the Magic card, right? So pretty cool. All right. So it's pretty cool to have a couple more things to switch between. Before I only had the 2. I had the my Black Lotus. Well, I still have it. My Black Lotus playmat, and then I got a Thawing Glaciers playmat. That one I got from a TCG card game con. I got it from Mr. Jeff Menges. I still don't know how to pronounce his name. All right, but I got it from him. He signed it as well. So I've only had those 2 playmats. So now I've over doubled that now. So it's pretty cool. I have more options, and I'm sure when I do more Neos events, which is the main thing I tend to do for online events, I'll definitely be showing off that swag, right? So that's taken care of. Let me go through the decks that I took, and then just how I did and so forth. I guess I'll start with the X points that came first. All right. And I do definitely want to review things because I want to not rest my arm there. I don't want to mess up his cool signature. All right. So X points, so 10 points. So 3 hymns, 1 recall. The hymns are 1 each. So that's 4. 2 maces, 1 each, 6, and then 2 moxes, 2 points each. So that's 10. So at the last minute, I did get some play testing, so I can't say I didn't get any. Actually, I didn't get any with the recall. Actually, that was literally last second change. But the splashing of blue, actually not splashing. It's 4, 8 cards. Definitely it's mainly black, right? But I wouldn't call this splashing, right? Especially look at the sideboard as well. Adding that blue, so I do like it, and I think it has potential. I will continue to tweak it to see if it's viable, adding blue to this, because the main reasons I wanted to add blue, or just add another color, is because the for the mid game, late game, if I don't win early, it's very hard for me. Like it's diminishing returns. It just keeps on dropping off my chances of winning, because uh I have nothing above a 2/2. You're not counting the orders, right? But I have to pay mana for them. So it's very easily can get out of hand, and I lose an attrition war very easily. So I have to be very aggressive. And number two, if a creature I can kill with a terror, maybe it's a black creature as well, or protection from black, like Whirling Dervish, I have very little things against it, right? So, and also just in general, hitting the opponent. I tried 2 Drain Lives as well. The Drain Lives actually is mainly to like counteract the self-destruction here. So I have 4 cities. I used to initially have 4 dibs as well, and then I also initially have 4 Sonic Blast. I literally took one of each Sonic Blast and a dib to put in these 2 life drains. So I went 3 and 3. So the X points was the side event, so it was a smaller event, just 6 rounds. I went 3 and 3. So my initial thought was I definitely should have stayed mono black, only because I just didn't have enough time to test it out, and I would have rather either won or lost with something at least I had a lot of experience with. As you may know, I do mono black for X points all the time, like for quite a while now. But then definitely tweak it, right? From tournament to tournament, month to month. I'm still finalizing it, and it will never be finalized, right? It's more like just a judgment call for the particular month. But I definitely tweak it a lot, and so I'm pretty comfortable. I've never used Drain Lives except initially when I first started playing the mono black, and it was not good, and I didn't make the next round. But I took these out. I added other things, and then I started making more consistently making the next round in the X points, right? So that got me excited that I was on the right track. But because of those 2 deficiencies of just stalling out mid to late game and not having a way to deal direct damage, whether it be to the player or to a creature, I thought adding blue would solve both problems. And honestly, it did. It's not, these 2 Sonic Blast and dibs, they were useful, right? So, but definitely an issue was a lot of times I did not get a blue, even though I have 9 sources. City of Brasses, 4 Underground Seas, and the Mox Sapphire. There are definitely times when I just was sitting in a card, and then in a deck that's supposed to be aggressive, and that's the only way it's gonna win. Before the opponent puts their stuff, I gotta put out my stuff more of it first to overwhelm. But so that was initially, that's one issue, and the recall was, I think I used it one time, and I'm sure it was used, whatever it got was useful, right? But in general, I drew it more. I only used it 1, maybe 2, but I'm definitely 1. I don't know if it was more than once, but I drew it more than just the 1. I purposely just held it on my hand and didn't do anything a lot of the times, because either I didn't have the mana, I didn't have a blue to open it, or like I didn't have anything in my graveyard at the moment that I wanted to bring back, right? So it just ended up being a wasted slot. So that was a big mistake. That the card was, other than that one time, was useless. I must have drawn it like 4 or 5 times in total, and I only made use of it once. And whether it be for the mana or just whatever, just it's just for that one slot, I should have picked something different. Same thing with the Drain Lives. Drain Lives, actually, I did use it effectively 2-3 times, maybe. Like there were a lot of Winnie decks. So life drain for like 1 only or 2. I think that's all I did, 1 or 2. Yeah, pretty sure I did 1 a couple times, and then 1 or 2 times to get rid of little creatures. So I mean, definitely was effective. It did something, but a lot of times, definitely, I was just holding it in my hands, and waiting, or there was nothing good enough to do it with, right? So, and then I wanted to kind of do it to also help with all this pain, right? But considering I just ended up doing only for 1 or 2 X for 1 2, didn't really solve that issue, right? So it's just, so even though it was, it did have its day, it was not worth the 2 slots, right? So that's 2 slots here, this slot there. It they might have been useful, but not enough to warrant them being in the deck. Let's see, maces of it were great. If anything, that recall should have been a third mace. The reason why I didn't want to go for third mace is because if I'm dropping a land and then I drop a mace, right, that's just 1 less land. And in general, I don't want to be dropped, like if I have 3 lands in my hand, I can only do one at a time. And I have no other ramp other than the Moxes here. But if I don't have Mox, I'm just dropping 1 land at a time, right? So then I can do, if I have a hand with 2 maces, that's fine for later on. But initially, I probably just need 1, if I need 1, right? So, but the maces were fine. That's fine. And Cities of Brass, like it's, you just have to take, it is what it is. So I went 3 and 3. And I had a lot of regrets of adding the blue to it. I should have stuck with just mono black, stuck to something I was already familiar with. And I'm not saying it would have done better, because the problems that I highlighted are still present. But at least I wouldn't have had regrets that like I should have done this or that. I just I did my best. I took the best. I would have taken the best black deck I think of. Something that I've already done, right? And then win or lose on its own merits, right? But this one I thought partly lost not in its own merits because it was not tested enough, right? So that was a big mistake on my part. So I do, but it has its uses. And sideboard, let's do sideboard. So 2 Sorcerer's Queens, great idea. It almost always got killed. And if I used it at 1 time maybe. So I definitely like the idea, so I'm not giving up on it. But and I do like it that when you put it on, it attracts bolts and swords and stuff, right? So that means less targets for your other guys, right? But it's whatever I have here, this is more devastating to my opponent, most likely, right? Unless they're playing a Winnie deck. So this thing is just gone almost immediately. But that could also be a benefit, right? Because that takes away these guys getting hurt. So we'll see. But I like it. Villains were great. Terrors were, I think I drew 1 the whole time. So I mean, they're fine. These were fine. These were great. I won a game solely just on putting 2 of these out. My opponent was playing a artifact heavy deck, and then I put it out 3rd turn, and then I put a second one out turn 4, and they just conceded. And these were so, but honestly, the sideboards, I think in general, this sideboard for the black and blue colors that I was going with, it was fine. So I was, at the very minimum, I'm okay with it. Maybe it could have been better, but honestly, it did good. It did good. So not much complaints about it. The main deck is the complaint. All right, so I'll play around, see if I can tweak things here and there. I may have to add just more basic lands, right, to just counteract the City of Brass hitting me so much. We'll see, right? Or I'm also considering just doing red, right? Because then red works really nice. First of all, direct damage, right? And without it hitting me back. Number 2, it has the Sedge Troll, right? So it's practically a 3/3 for 3 mana, right? Because it gets pumped by having swamps, and of course it regenerates. So that's a strong creature to add. So that's a good possibility. I do not have any dual lands that have the black and red. So that's one huge thing that would keep the deck from gelling, because it's just gonna I'm not gonna have the right mana. I'm gonna have to put in mountains. We'll see. But another benefit to that is that I wouldn't be hurt as much by Blood Moon, which was a big deal in throughout Lobstercon, X Points, and Atlantic, old school. Yeah, I lost. I don't know if I lost in this one, but I was definitely afraid. Yeah, I think I think I hit it for X Points as well, a Blood Moon, and maybe oh no, yeah, I'm pretty sure also a City in the Bottom. So I think, yeah, both days I got hit by both, and it devastated me, and I lost games for that. So it's good to have something that makes me less vulnerable to both. So if I get rid of either drop these, if I'm doing red, then I have less Arabian Night stuff. Maybe I have to get rid of. Well, I don't know if I don't have any black and red dual lands. I forget what's the name of that. Badlands. No, I think that's black and white. Well, whatever. Then I still need the Cities of Bright, right? So I still need these. We'll see. But that's an avenue I'm looking to consider, right? Especially since it would drop my fear of, or it will be less vulnerable to those two cards, Blood Moon and City in the Bottom. The other third one, the Abyss, I didn't see a single Abyss the whole time. But it's not like it couldn't have happened. It definitely could have. All right, so that's this deck. Went 3-3. But this is really the main thing here, the Atlantic deck. So this is from a deck list from my friend Paul from the New York Old School group. The only two cards that are different from his deck, and he said he got top 8 in a previous Lobstercon with this deck, right? So the deck is great. I really like it. But there were definitely some things that I might be looking to switch for my personal taste and just from what I observed in Lobstercon. But of course, whoever you play against is just totally random, right? So I don't want to be too drastic, because the deck is, in general, is excellent. The only two switches are, I put here 2 Nevinyrral's this, because the 2 cards that I do not have that were in his deck list is a Black Lotus and a Time Twister, right? So I don't have either one. So Nevinyrral's this were here to deal with the Abyss, deal with City in a Bottle, deal with Blood Moon. And yeah, I mean, they did their work, and and in general, also I just ended up using it for other reasons as well. So I like it. I'm not sure if it's still the best to. I do like it. I think it may is better in the sideboard, only because I want it in the main deck in case Blood Moons especially. But guess what? It's only 2 cards. In my first game, I'm pretty sure Blood Moon on the second, third turn. The opponent went first, right? So just land. Third turn him, Blood Moon, boom. I couldn't cast anything else. I had casted a couple things previously. So then, I was able to do a little damage with that, but eventually he's playing Blood Moon, so he's playing red, so he killed what little I had. Right? And then he just got me with his factories. So, and then I never drew these, or maybe I drew it and it was already too late, right? But it's just, I think the main thing is not to put these cards to destroy a Blood Moon. I think the better solution is for me to be less vulnerable to Blood Moon, period, without this thing, right? So that means I gotta play around with the land. So I literally only have 1 basic land. So I'm playing around. Probably the first thing to go is these Mishra's Factories, although they did nice, like they always do. And of course, there's always Mishra's Factories, a war between both sides for Mishra's Factories. So if opponent has a Mishra's Factory and then you have one, that prevents them from attacking you if like they were hitting you from before and then you're trying to be defensive. Right, so and then it becomes okay, they end up stalling because they want to wait until they get their second one, right? But then maybe you get your second one as well, right? So or so it becomes it was a lot of times, of course, a lot of fighting with using Mishra's Factories in combat, but also a lot of stalling, not attacking with your Mishra's Factory because the opponent already had Mishra's Factories. So basically it was all over the place. Everybody had Mishra's Factories for the most part. But the main reason I want to take these out would be, as good as it was, all this is better, right? So this is more like, assurances, like it may a board wipe, of course that will help. But honestly, if I get a board wipe, it's just gonna be devastating, period. I don't think I won a game because of the Mishra's Factory. But that's not to say I couldn't have, right? So they're definitely, perfectly fine, great card. But like I said, I want to be less susceptible to blood moons in general. So that means I need to put in more basics. So but I can't just sacrifice the dual land, the flexibility of the dual lands either, right? So I have to keep some and have to take out from something else to add these basics, right? So maybe also, I'm thinking maybe I trim down dual lands to 2 each. That means 3 here. If I take out all 4, that's 7. And then maybe 1, we'll see, right? Like I said, this is a brand new idea. I'm gonna be playing around with that. But yeah, I think that's a better alternative for me to just in general be less susceptible to blood moons because people are gonna play it. It is gonna get played, and it is gonna wreck people, and it can win a game just that one card. And this, if I only have 2, if I don't get it, then I'm screwed. And even if I get it, you can activate the turn off, right? So it's still very tricky. And I'm pretty sure I did destroy blood. Yeah, I'm positive I destroyed blood moons and blood moons and perhaps City in the bottle with it, right? But definitely I destroyed at least 1 or 2 blood moons using this, right? So it did what it was supposed to. The issue is it still affected me nonetheless, right? And for a couple of them I didn't drew this in time, so I just still lost anyway, right? So the deck as a whole has to be less susceptible to blood moons. All right, so that's one thing. I did not see any abysses, right? So that was another reason I had these. So then if I'm less susceptible, then these can go to the sideboard, or maybe I just don't use them anymore. We'll see, right? But the card was fine. Not always 100% useful, like but sometimes I held it, thinking, okay, if things turn sour, I can drop it, and it got disenchanted a couple times, like you would expect. But in general, I like the card. I think it did well, and the reasons why I put it were correct, and it did help for those reasons. But if I don't draw them, it doesn't help. It's not going to help, right? So yeah, that's that. So, but okay, now let me talk about my record. I went 4-4. I'm very, very angry with myself because I could have been 5-3. There was a game where I had my opponent at 8 life. I believe I'm sure I was higher, maybe like 12 something. And my opponent had a maze and an Urnum. And I had an Urnum and a Sarah Angel, I believe. So, and I had just dropped the either the Urnum or the Sarah Angel. I had just dropped one of those, right? So I couldn't attack because he was just gonna mace it, and I was attacking with the Urnums, but I was attacking with other little creatures. Eventually, they got whittled away, but the Urnum still stayed. So he was just blocking Urnums with Urnums, and oh no, actually that couldn't have happened. Oh no, I believe it was, yeah. But maybe we just didn't have a force in play, or maybe I didn't, right? Because because with a City of Brass, Mox, I could cast Urnums whether I have force or not, right? So I think that's what it was. I was attacking, and he was blocking, but he wouldn't attack me because he was on the defensive, right? So even though he could have attacked, and I was giving his stuff force work as well, right? But he was on the defensive. I was attacking, So I had the game in the bag, and then I dropped an Urnum. So now the mace will deal with one, right? But it couldn't deal with the other one. Or at least that was my idea, right? So, but it just it was advantageous for me to do that. I felt it was I had the upper hand, and he was gonna be forced to uh give forward walk to one of them, right? So most likely the Sarah, right? Since it flew anyway. And I could be mistaken about that I had a Sarah. May I had two Urnums, right? So the exact situation, I don't remember. I more remember like in general. It could have been that I had two Urnums, right? I think that makes more sense because if I had a Sarah and an Urnum, he would have just force walked the the Sarah and then maced it anyway. Maced it, right? So you can still mace a Sarah, a force walk, right? Because force walking just means it gets through the fence, but you can still mace it, right? So I'm pretty sure I had two Urnums, right? I had one, but because of the mace, I couldn't attack with it, even though I had force walk, right? And he didn't want to attack me because I may have had other things, right? So I'm not sure, like I said, the exact situation, but the problem was, my mistake was, when I finally got that second big creature, I believe that second Urnum, I made the mistake of also casting a Pixies because it's just like on reflex. Okay, because that's what I am. I'm aggro. I get a creature. I got to cast it. I got to attack. So what ended up happening was he gave my Pixies Forest Walk. If I hadn't casted the Pixie, he would have had to give it to one of my Urnums. So that's 4 damage unblockable. And I may have destroyed his mace. So that could have been possible. I had two Urnums and then I destroyed the mace. That could have been it, right? Like I said, it's hard for me to remember exactly all the details. But in general, that's what I remember. I remember that I had the upper hand. I had 2 big creatures, and he needed to get Forest Walk that was going to be unblockable. And it was unblockable because he ended up giving it to the Pixies instead, and the Pixie went into attack, but he was attacking for 2. He was at 8 life, so I gave him 2 extra turns for that big blunder. I should have had that game. If I hadn't played the Pixies, the Urnum would have, or the other creature that I had, whatever, I would have been attacking for 4 unblockable. He would have been dead in 2 turns. But because of that, my big blunder, and after I played it, after I said go, I immediately realized, like, oh man, shouldn't have done that. But I said, okay, I'm still gonna get. He's low. He's at 8. I'm still gonna get in. In 4 turns I win. When he was at 2 life, he killed me. I think he got he attacked with a 1/1 and he just gave it like 3 Django's and then a Berserk or something. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So yeah, he just killed me one shot. Literally when he was at 2 life and I was gonna win the following turn, right? So if it hadn't been for that, so that was strictly a blunder on my end. Like I legit just gave him that win, from my mistake. Not to take anything away from the guy. He did well. We were 1-1, right? So that was the 3rd game, right? So he won 1 as well. And he ended up winning, right? Anyway, right? But it was my mistake. I should have been 5-3. But 4-4 is decent for my first Lobstercon and such a big event, old school event. I've attended like one previous, but something small. So something this big was pretty intimidating. So I'm glad to at least have done 4-4. And like I said, I should have been 5-3. Me being 4-4 though, I was in 108, place 108th out of almost 200. So around the middle basically, right? That's what 4-4 is, right? But I saw anybody who was 5-3, they were like in the 60 and above. So I would have been top 3rd instead of right in the middle, right? So definitely that it's very irksome that happened, but it's all on me. All right, so other things that I noticed from this deck. So there were times definitely I had a time walk. I couldn't cast something that was blue. Right, so that's one thing. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, Blood Moons totally wrecked me, and I got this deck did get cast a Sin in a Bottle against it. It got I believe just 2 city brasses, but that was enough. I only had like 1 more mana. I was low on mana, and then that came out. I think I destroyed it next turn or something. Something happened. I think I had whatever. It's it got me, and it ended up killing me, right? So the main issue is still the Blood Moon, but of course, definitely anything that makes me less susceptible to sitting in the bottles. Right now, I am super susceptible. I have this, and that, which is a big part of my game plan. So I'm looking to, number 1, become less susceptible to Blood Moons. That's number 1. I got to do that. Number 2, if possible, and I'm sure it is possible, become less susceptible to sitting in a bottle. Okay, and that just reminded me. Black. A lot of times I had a mind twist. I believe like at least once, probably even twice. I had a mind twist I couldn't cast, and it would have been so helpful to do it, to be able to do so. And I cast it once, I believe twice. So I did cast it. So I mean, it's an awesome card, of course, right? The Magnitude, the same thing. There were times where I was able to cast it. Of course, I got a good card. But there were times it was just sitting in my hand. I couldn't cast. Of course, right? If I can't cast blue, black is even worse, right? Because black legit, I only have 5 cards for that: 4 Cities of Brass and the Mox Jet. Right. So my dilemma is either I take out all the black, so these 2, and in fact, I just want to take out the Mox Jet as well, because that's another card so I could put for other things, or maybe just make it so that I'm more likely to get blue. But actually, I'm toying with this idea. I like the card Derelore. It got used. I faced it a couple times in Lobstercon, and it's a very good creature. So Suchi gets played all the time in old school, right? It's a 4/4 for 4 mana, colorless. It's an artifact creature. The drawback is when it dies, you get 4 colorless mana. If you don't have anything to sink it in, like a factory or a book, it's just something that you can sink, or you cast a spell next. Oh no, actually no, you gotta use it immediately. If it passes a phase, you get mana burn immediately, right? So if not, then you take 4 mana burn, right? That's 4 damage, right? So which is supposed to be a big drawback for having such a good creature for such an easy casting cost. But the next best thing, and sometimes I think, in fact, I think it's pretty adjacent. I don't think it's a step down. I think it's just as good under certain conditions, right? But then again, so is the Suchi, right? Not gets used a lot, but not every deck has aggro deck has Suchis, right? But they do get played. They're Suchis, but their lures are pretty good as well. So they're 4 mana for 4/4 creatures, just like the Suchis, but they cost 1 black. So they're a black creature, but 1 black is not so bad. The drawback is that any black spells you cast cost 1 extra black. But if I only have 2, 3, 4 black cards in the whole deck, then that's no longer a drawback, right? Or not much. The Suchi's thing, a drawback that's still probably a much worse drawback than the Derelore in my particular case. So I'm considering, and plus that will kind of solve 2 birds with 1 stone. I will. So it was either take out the black entirely, or go more into black, and not by a whole lot, just a little bit more, but invest more in black and get more black sources in here. Maybe I still got to figure out. So that's another idea. And then, like I was saying, kills 2 birds with 1 stone. I can take out I'm thinking maybe I take out one dib and one Ernum and put it in two dire lures. Maybe more than that, maybe I take out, two dibs and, we'll see, right? I'll play around with how many. But initially I'm thinking two because, like I said, I probably don't want to have two dire lures in my hand because then the second one will be 5 mana for a 4/4. Honestly, in old school, that's not horrible either, right? So even that is still okay, right? 4 mana for a 4/4, that's great. 5 mana for a 4/4, that's okay, but it's not bad. So even then, that's not so bad, right? So I might consider more than two then, now that I think about it. But initially, my gut feeling tells me I should get two. So then that makes me less susceptible. Oh, or does it? Let me double check on Daryl. I want to see what set he's in. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to enter results here. Okay, so yeah, confirm it. Yeah, just confirming the result for a match. All right, that should be good. All right, so let me get out of that. Let me get out of this. Okay, so as I said, the Duralore issue is that if I invest more in black, so then that means I have more black mana sources, and then hopefully that also means I can then cast. I'm more likely to be able to cast my the Mining Tutor, my Mind Twist, right? So it's a 2/2, and then in addition, makes me less susceptible to sit in a bottle. And I just looked at it. Yeah, Duralore is Falling Empires, right? So that's one idea, and honestly, a good idea, at least in my eyes, right now. I like that idea. Now another idea, kind of like similar for the X points, is going more red. That way, the Blood Moon wouldn't affect me as bad because I have things that are red anyway that I can cast. So that's another thing. For that one, then like people just play red for direct damage. So and wheel and the Sedge Troll, right? So the direct damage is that's always great, right? But in this particular deck, I just don't have. If you go direct damage, you want to go all 8, right? Lightning bolts and the other one, chain lightning, right? The one that you can bounce back and copies the effect. But you want 8. That means it's 8 times the possibilities of doing 3 damage per pop. Right? And I don't think I want to take out 8 cards for that instead of do that. May a couple, of course I got these side blasts. I definitely would prefer lightning bolts instead of this. Even though they do kill Ceres, and I did kill Ceres, right? So Side Blast, Sonic Blast as a whole, is fine. Except that I am getting a lot of hit to myself with the blast, and then this, and then the City of Brasses, right? So it's too cumulative, the whole thing. Similar to the other deck, my mono black, black blue. In fact, those are the cards I swap between those two decks: the Dips, the Signing Blast, and the City of Brasses, right? So I have the same problem for both decks. I get hurt too much by these cards. So I need to do things to, take them out, or, little by little, right? Or diminish them a bit. So that's an idea. Adding dire lures, 2 at least. So take away here, right? Or, like I said, adding red. But I feel a set show in this case would be like a drop, or like a step back. Because, like if set show is a 3-3, it's great. But if I have a dip, that's better. Because I can attack in the air. And then unless they, like, I definitely had double bolts done to my dips, right? So, that then it'll be a 2-for-1, then leaves less for other things to get hit, right? So the dip is better in general, right? Unless they, of course, do the combo with this. I think that happened once against me. But I was able to, I don't know if I lost to it or not, but, it just happened once, right? So I don't feel it's a huge threat, at least, against my deck. It has the potential to come back from it. But just in general, it doesn't fit this deck too much. It has to be more devoted, for that particular card. And this deck is just, there's not enough slots to do so, right? So, but that would solve a lot of problems. Like, just adding more red, it will make me less susceptible to Blood Moon, right? So I think that's my number one thing. I have to be less susceptible to Blood Moon. Something that kind of solves some of these will be, of course, made some more artifacts, but then I also don't want to. Actually, yeah, Antiquities has a lot of good artifacts, of course, like Suchi. So that was something I considered before, where I have artifacts, and then that makes me less susceptible to. Definitely makes me less susceptible to. Not Blood Moon, City in a Bottle, right? Because a lot of the good artifacts are Antiquities, not Arabian Nights. And then it will make me less susceptible to Blood Moons as well, because artifacts are colorless, so I could use whatever color mana, right? So that is an option, but honestly, the way the creatures work here is great. I like the deck. I like the way it is. I think I just gotta make this what this is. Make it more resilient against those cards. I think that's the better course, instead of just making all these creatures colorless, artifact creatures, right? I think that's way more drastic, even though it would solve a lot of the problems. And I had done something similar to that, and it didn't work out so good. Like, it was, it was so-so, but it wasn't very exciting, and it just, I didn't think it was that great. So I, in general, I think the deck played nicely. I got killed sometimes, but that was, like I said, it really, if I can solve that problem, I would have had at least 2 games, probably 3 games. The 3 games that I lost, either, they had a Blood Moon had a hand in those, big hand, right? So I need to do something, against that. And so I just explained the the different options. Looking at the sideboard, Armageddon said won me a game, but I think I sideboarded like 2-3 times total, and then sometimes I didn't draw it. But I played it against a control deck, like very similar to the deck, but not exactly, but pretty similar. And it ended up winning me the game. So I like the card as a sideboard. These, same thing. Energy Flux won me 1 game straight up. And I just didn't hit too many opponents with a lot of artifacts. But when I did, it ended up winning the game, right? So it's it's good. But of course, like any of these cards, it just depends who you end up randomly playing against. The swords, they were fine. Yep, I think they were useful. So yeah, I think that's fine. These, I never used them once, the Whirling Dervishes. I never had an opponent that was mono black, right? So maybe they did play black, but they did black red, right? And then they have ATOGs and other stuff. So I'm like, okay, it's only if it's mono black, or only if, like, they could add other colors, but they only have black permanents that could potentially block it. That just didn't happen, so I never used these. But against mono black, they are very powerful, and I was tempted to add these against some other decks where I thought they weren't playing a lot of creatures, and then okay, I can still bring it out, and then it could get a couple hits in and then grow from there. Because once it grows to maybe 3/3, it's already more likely to keep on. The opponent is less likely to have something that could kill it after that, right? So, but I never used them. So, but in general, I think the cyber was fine. So I'll still consider more things. Like I said, this is literally just the next day after. But those are my initial thoughts. I do like the deck, of course. Like my friend top 8 with this deck, right? Minus those 2 cards, like I mentioned, right? So it's proven this deck is good. It's more about me not being okay, but not great. Like I said, I made that huge blunder. I should have been at least 5/3. But his sideboard from my friends is totally different. So actually, I'm going to take a look at his list again, but mainly looking at the sideboard, seeing what I what I was weak against, what I lost to, and then seeing if I had also copied his sideboard, if that would have solved the issues. So we'll see. All right, but those are my initial thoughts on this, on just how I did with these 2 decks. Now, finally, opening this up because the video is dragging on for a while, but there was a lot of things to discuss. So this is from Card Kingdom. I've been very happy with Card Kingdom. So once again, the receipt, and then gave me this City of Brass. Okay. Yep, nice. They did a little tab sticker thing. The tab tape. And then you can just peel it off because it was folded on one end. Nice. So that was quick. So I'm going to show the list of what I should be getting here, and so on. Ooh, a free token. All right. So this is what I ordered. That's what should be here. 4 Chaos Confetti. So that's a Chaos Moon unglued card. Here it is. So basically, these are going to be my Chaos Orb proxies. That way I can, because avoid swapping so many cards. Plus, I have a proxy of a Chaos Orb that looks exactly real. Except for the back, right? But it's for personal use. But it's thin, like these over here. These are like playing cards, like aces, queens, kings. This is an actual magic card. It's just it's from an unglued set, right? So, and people do play these as proxies, right? So it's a common proxy for Chaos Orb. So I just wanted to have these for that purpose. Let's say 4 Chaos Lords near mint. I like this. They have 2 different, whatever amount of cards from whatever condition you got is separated by the condition. So all of these are near mints, and then I just got 2 from Excellent. Excellent is basically light played, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So 4, because in general I like to do my full playset, and if you see less, that's most likely because I already had some, and I'm just completing the playset. 4 Chaos Lords, that's just for my Alice. I just want to have it just in case, because especially since it's so cheap. And then 4 City of Brasses between 2, 3, 4 gold border, all near mints. Because once again, just I had in this for Lobstercon, both decks needed 4 City of Brasses, so it would have been cool to have for each of them to have 4, and then have to do less swapping, right? And in general, like city addresses are super useful, so I want to have more than just the 4. But that was a little costly, $550 each. One disenchant from Ice Age for my allies. I must have had some already. 2 Johto Worms, same thing for Alice. Meteor Shower, same thing for Alice. Only 2 each. That means I must have 2. 3 Portents, and yeah, because I have 1. 3 Primitive Justice, I have 1. 4 Rogue Sky Captains, same thing. I don't know if I'm going to build anything, but they're cheap enough, and I do see the potentials, right? So at least I want to have the option. 2 Shatters, because I have 2 already from Ice Age. 4 Surge of Strength, same thing. I don't know if I'm ever going to use them, but I see the potential there, so I could potentially use it. And if I wanted to, now I have the option. And then 4 Taste of Paradise, same thing. I was toying around with some ideas for just having a lot of X spells, and then Taste of Paradise is something that you can cast a lot of, you pump a lot of mana into, and then gives you life. But for other reasons as well, right? So and mainly I just wanted to have the card in case I wanted to use it. And then finally, 2 in excellent condition, 2 Juniper Odor Druids, same thing for my Alice decks, and just to try different things. All right, so I'm going to check the condition. So everything's supposed to be near mint except the 2 late druids, right? Those are supposed to be didn't I see them? I separated them. Okay, there you go. All right, so let's do these 2 first. I know it's a big glare, but that's the way it is at the moment. All right, so yeah, they look nice. Honestly, the front one looks near mint. The other one, yeah, I mean, they have a little bit of, actually, they have a little bit, but it's harsh to call it not near mint for that, but I guess technically it is. This one has a little white speck. Yeah, you can kind of see it right there, right? So yeah, actually, yes, with the glare it's more noticeable. There it is. You can see that speck right there under the little bit under the sea. Right, but yep, light play, close to near mint too, fine. Right, and then it's been a lot more. It's been a lot more likely for the condition to be accurate from what's posted on the confirmation email and to what I receive. Definitely a couple cases where it was a little off, but not in a very exaggerated way, right? It's gonna happen, right? These cards are very cheap. Right? People are not gonna take a minute to inspect it super, right? But I think if you posted light plate or near mint and you give me something that's heavy plate, maybe even damage, that's just no excuse for that. But giving me a light plate instead of a near mint, that's understandable, or anything similar to that. All right, so let's see. Let's go. I want to go in the order that it says here. 4K, and I might have gotten it. Oh no, I was just about to say maybe they gave it to me in the same order, but no, they didn't. Unless I moved things around, which I could have. 4 Chaos Confettis, near mints. 1, 2. Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, I would say these are close to near mints. It's accurate. 4 Chaos Lords. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I said, the late druids were the only ones that were not near mint. They were light plate, so everything else should be near mint. This is not. I see just a little bit of a bend crease there, but minor. Then honestly, a little something there. But actually, that could have been just from my hand holding it. We'll see. But a minimum is light play, so I'm still okay with that. Here we go. 4 City of Brasses gold border from different World Championship decks. I don't care about, what is, whose name is on the front. I just wanted gold bordered City of Brasses for cheap. Yeah, these are looking near mint. Nice. And then this is the most expensive card, so I'm happy with that. All right, 2 disenchants. Oh, my mistake. 1 disenchant only. And it says near mint. Yep, I guess so. 2 Jota Worms near mint. I only have 2. And just OCD, I want to get the other 2. And plus it's a good creature for Alice terms. Couple, yeah, I see a couple of little indentations on this card. But nothing major, is fine enough. 2 meteor showers. I have 2 already, but I think mine are not in the best condition. But I've been mentioning that hasn't been bothering me anymore. And in fact, I've been leaning towards it, like, just using the cards I already have, even if it's like really, really bad. Unless it's like straight up damage and it can't even fit in the sleeve, I'll end up using it and preferring it to near mints. Because I think, it's just a cool way to tell the story of how, of my experience with Magic by playing those cards that I used to play with when I was a kid. Yep, looks near mint. Portent, 3 portents. I have 1 only. I think it's in so-so condition. And these 3 are supposed to be near mint. They're pretty cheap. Yeah, near mint. 2 Perimeter Justice. I'm sure I have 2. Or how many Perimeter? 3. Oops. My mistake. Near mint it says. So yeah, that means I only have 1. Ooh, this is pretty clear crease on this one. Well, yeah, you see that. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, yeah, visible on the other side as well. There it is. So this is damaged, I think, right? Yeah, this is damaged. But if not for that, that's a binder thing, right? So if not for that, the rest of the card is clean. So if maybe you grabbed it and you looked at it like this real quick, you don't pay attention to the bottom, right? Because I saw, honestly, it's like under certain lights, it pops out more. It is visible just without that as well, but depending on the angle, a lot less. The angle makes it pop out 10 times more. But if not for that, it would have been near mint. So it's still acceptable. Plus, it's a cheap enough card, so not a big deal. So far it's okay. Yeah, it's just more, I was a little surprised to see that big thing. 4 Rogue Sky Captains. This has been a pretty cool card that I looked at. I've been having in my eye for a while now. I would say these are light played, but I guess 1 or 2 could be near mint. All right. 2 Shatters. There they are, near mint supposedly. I guess, yeah. 4 Surge of Strength and then 4 Taste of Paradise. So all of these are supposed to be near mint. Yeah, close enough. Yep, near mint and then 4 Taste of Paradise. 2 different arts. Yeah, near mint. That's fine. Yep, they look good. All right, so now in total, if they tell you. Just seeing if I remember getting a total before, or being able to see the total. So maybe I'm just not seeing it for whatever reason. Yeah, a full on total quantity. I guess the receipt might have it. So This is just want to con it all out. Although I went one by one, right? So it seems like it's accurate. All right, this has 39 singles. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 39. Is that what I said? Yep, 39, that's what I got. All right, so yeah, it's accurate. All right, so then these are the cards. Nothing, major. Let's take a peek at the card list again. Might as well. So yeah, the City of Restless is by far the most expensive, $5.50 each, and they are near mint. Everything else is just cents. 59, 49 cents, 35 cents, 35, 79, 28 for the two each juniper or druid, right? So it's, yeah. In fact, I think the total was like $12 or something, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if this shows up here. Oh, I was wrong. Oh no, it can't be that low because of the sitting in the bottles. It's already at $22 with $5.50 per, right? So it's, yeah, I must have seen something else, but that's the point of this. So here, some cards for old school, but I'd say most of this is for Alice, right? Which is, I'm gonna take a break from tournaments for this next month, probably for both, but not breaks from playing. But like more and more, I'm preferring to play either in person or casually with my actual friends online, as opposed to just doing a tournament where you're just randomly placed. Nothing wrong with that, but it's more fun when you do it when you play with your friends, right? So I'm thinking about not joining anymore. Plus, work and everything. That might be the best thing. Plus, I can focus on other formats. Since I got so many Alice cards, may do an Alice tournament or a Mirage tournament. Mirage, I really want to get into that, and actually, I already signed up for it. So, I'm going to take a break from competitive old school for at least a month, but that's not taking a break from Magic. I'm still doing Magic. I'm just going to be focusing on other things or focusing on playing online with friends and testing things out that way, right? Without the pressure of having to complete games because you made a commitment to play X amount of games for the tournament, right? So, just it's a different feeling, right? To feel rushed and so forth, right? Which is, that's what you sign up for, right? But if you want to take a break from it, it's best to not even sign up. So I'll still continue to improve these two decks. Definitely, I'm very motivated to, especially my Atlantic deck, because I felt I was 5-3, and that's with these issues. If I had addressed those issues before the tournament and I hadn't made the mistake, and I could I have been maybe higher? I mean, at the very minimum, I would have stood a better chance, right? So that's why I'm really hopeful for that one. For the X points one, I'm going to try the blue and try adding red. But I think most likely I'll just end up going back to black, right? So we'll mono black. We'll see on that one as well. But I am very motivated, especially with all the Lobstercon experience that I got. It was so cool. I'm definitely motivated to making those two decks that much more stronger, reliable, resilient. For that, I prefer to not be, I have the freedom to switch things up, try different things. When you're in a tournament, you have to give a deck list, and then you can't change it. You got to play that, even though you said, oh man, I should have done this, I should have done that. That's what playtesting is for. So I'm just going to be playtest a lot with friends or just random online games, but no tournaments. If I do tournaments, it'll be for Ice Age, for Alice, and for Mirage Black, right? So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening regarding Lobstercon. It was a pretty cool event. Definitely am looking forward to attending yearly. Thank you for watching.